Oh yeah. What's up guys? Welcome back to Inside Out Precision. Today's video we have a little bit different theme. So while it's still archery related, it's more archery hunting related. I'm actually leaving tonight, which is a lot sooner than I was thinking I was going to. I was gonna leave this Saturday for like a week. But due to kind of some unforeseen circumstances at work, I am now leaving tonight. So I'm in a little bit of a scramble mode, trying to get everything together. It never ceases to amaze me how many little details go into packing for a hunting trip. But while I was doing this, there's always little things that I make sure to bring. The style of hunting I'm going to be doing is, well, I'm going to be elk hunting, but it's not going to be like a bivvy hunt where I've got everything on my back that I need for a week. But it's also not a car camping hunt. So, I will have a base camp that I can go back to where I've got, my awning and like a nice big tent and a big air mattress and all that. But a lot of the places I go here, I drive a little ways, park at a trailhead or the end of a road or something, and I hike 2, 3, 4, however many miles it is. And if I find elk late in the day and, I'm on them, but I can't make a move on them that night, I don't want to have to leave and hike 3 miles back to the truck, drive back to camp, and the next morning, drive back out and hike back in. I'd much rather have what I need with me to where I can just back off a quarter or a half mile and set up just a little, little camp for the night and have the stuff I need to be comfortable the next day. So the things I'm going to go over here are just little things that I've learned over the years that are really nice amenities to have out there that just keep you comfortable. And I'm not going to go over all the different clothing, and like obviously you need a tent and your sleeping pad. Everybody's going to have their preference on that, but there's some little things that will make your life a lot easier out there. And the biggest thing, well, I wouldn't say the biggest, but one of the big things I always bring is socks, extra pairs of socks. So personally, I cannot stand wearing a pair of socks for 2 days. They get saturated with sweat, they dry out, they're kind of like stiff and hard, and they're just not comfortable. So even just on a day hunt, I always take an extra pair of socks, and during the middle of the day, if I'm taking a little nap or a break or something, I'll take my boots off, take my socks off, let that pair of socks dry out, and then I either put on a new pair of socks, or if it's been kind of a lighter day where I haven't been sweating a lot, I'll put on the pair of socks that I let dry out. But if I'm going to stay overnight, I definitely want a new pair of socks in the morning. So I always carry an extra pair of socks with me. These are Darn Toughs. They're by far my favorite brand of socks. They don't bunch up when you're hiking. They're form-fitting. They do a really good, they're very breathable. It's like a merino wool synthetic blend. And what's cool is they actually have a lifetime guarantee on them. So if you put a hole in them or wear one out, these are actually ones that I got in return for sending some back that I think I've worn for like 4 or 5 seasons now, and they sent me 4 pairs of brand new ones. So really cool. You're gonna spend a little more money on them originally, but like I said, you buy 1 pair and you get new ones for life. But always bring extra socks with me. There's something about having a new pair of socks that just makes you feel fresh. Like I've always said, if I win the lottery, I'm gonna wear a new pair of socks every day. So, the St. Vincent de Paul here will have a lot of only one-time used socks if I ever win the lottery. But socks are a big one. So, kind of going from the feet up, I guess. The next thing I like to bring is just a pair of flip-flops. So again, when I get done with the night, I'm gonna take off my boots, I'm gonna take off my socks, but I don't wanna just be walking around on pine needles and, step on a thorn bush or like a burr or something like that. So I always just bring this little pair of flip-flops. I can throw them on when I'm just, milling around camp doing my thing. They weigh nothing. And it's just it's good to give your feet a break. Let them air out, dry out, and just be comfortable in camp. Again, a lot of this comes back to comfort. So I always bring flip-flops. If I do happen to get a blister, which I've got good boots, they're broken in. Generally the boots don't give me a blister, but sometimes you'll get something inside your boot. So, you get a little burr inside your boot, or you get some dirt or pine needles or whatever, and you notice it, but it's not uncomfortable at the time, but over the course of, 10,000 steps over the day, it can form a blister or a hot spot. So I always bring some sort of skin care or blister care. So these are just these little blister pads that go on your feet. And then I, will put that on and wrap it with athletic tape. Usually for me, if I get it, it's like on like my Achilles, because something will get, wedged between my boot and my Achilles, and I'll get a little hot spot, or like the front of my toes. If I'm doing a lot of climbing, as you kind of like grip with your toes as you're going up the hill, I'll get a hot spot on the front of my toe, so I can put one of these blister things on there, wrap in athletic tape, and it keeps the friction from getting to the actual sore spot. And again, it's just a comfort thing. It'll make your life a lot easier out there. So always bring athletic tape and some sort of blister care. In terms of keeping things from getting into my boots, I like to wear gaiters a lot. So a lot of times I hunt in shorts, and the reason for that is just it's amazing how much heat pants will trap in your legs. This week it's supposed to be like 90 degrees over there, so I'm gonna be sweating a lot. So I'm gonna wear my First Lite shorts, and then in the mornings I'll actually couple them with a waterproof gaiter. And the reason for that is because it's not raining, it's not snowing, nothing like that, but when it's really hot in the day and then cools off at night, there's always dew in the morning, and it's on everything. So all the grass I'm walking through, all the brush is full of dew. And if I'm just wearing my pants or my shorts, if I'm wearing pants, it'll get my pants wet, that'll get my socks wet, and then that seeps down into my boots and gets my boots wet. So by wearing gaiters, I can keep the water out, and in addition, if I'm wearing my shorts, it keeps my legs from just getting torn up when I'm going through, sagebrush or mahoganies or whatever kind of brush it is that you're walking through. So sometimes I'll just wear these, even if it's not dewy, if it's in the middle of the day, if I'm going through brush and stuff, I'll throw these on, and it keeps my legs from getting all scratched up. If I'm in a little more open country and I'm wearing my shorts, I'll wear these really lightweight gaiters. And basically all these do is protect stuff from getting down inside my boot, which again will prevent me from getting any sort of blisters. I don't know why, but when I have stuff in my boot, it's like the only thing I can think about when I'm walking. Like I feel it on every step, but I'm usually too lazy or too rushed to like sit down and empty them out. And then 10 minutes later, there's more stuff in them. You sit down and empty them out. So by wearing these super lightweight little gaiters, keeps stuff from getting down in my boots. So I love those. In terms of like cleanliness when you're out there, obviously you're probably not, you might be camped by a lake or a river or something, but generally you're up in the hills and there's not a lot of water sources. So I always carry wet ones. You don't have to carry the whole pack. You can take 10 of these out and put it in a Ziploc bag, and they'll stay nice and moist for a few days. So you can kind of take a dry shower with them. In addition, they're way better than toilet paper. So I'm not gonna get into any details, but if you've ever made one in the woods, you know that you need to clean up afterwards. And using a wet one will clean you up nicely, between the sweat and whatever else might be down there. Using one of these will get you clean, and that will prevent chafing. And just like blisters on your feet, if you start chafing really badly, you're done. It's painful to walk. So by using these, keep everything clean, keep the sweat out of there, keep the what out of there, and just makes life a lot easier. So I love my wet ones. In terms of like water, obviously, depending on where you're hunting, sometimes there's water everywhere, sometimes there's very little water. Where I'm going to be, there's very little water. So I've got like a bladder in my backpack, and it's 3 liters, so it's a good amount of water. But if you're sweating a lot, it's shocking how much water you actually need in a day. So I always carry, this is called a dip and drink. Platypus makes this. And basically it's just, it's a 24-ounce water bottle, but it's also got a filter on the mouthpiece. So if I come across like a little spring or a little pond or, any sort of water source that's not like just incredibly like mucky and, has like particles floating in it, I can just dip this in, fill it up, drink right through the mouthpiece, and it's gonna filter the water before it ever hits my lips. In addition to that, if I'm gonna be somewhere where, I don't think I'm gonna have water for a little while, if it's towards the end of the day and my bladder is, let's say, only half full, I can fill this up, tip it upside down, squeeze the water into my bladder, refill my bladder all the way, and then fill this. And what's nice about that is that if I'm hunting out of a backpack, like I said, chances are at night I'm going to be eating some sort of like freeze-dried meals, like a Mountain House or one of the Peak Fuels or anything like that. But they require boiled water in order to rehydrate. So if I have one of these, I can just use the water that's in here, fill that up, make my food, and I still have a bladder that's full the next day. So I'm not using any of the water that I'm going to use the next day. I have, you know, a water bottle full of it. So I love those little dipping drinks. You know, you can always use more water, pretty much. Generally, if I've come across a water source, I'm going to sit there and drink as much as I can while I'm there, then fill all my stuff up, and I'm good for another day and a half or so. Obviously, like I said, if you're eating a freeze-dried meal and it requires water, that's going to require a heat source to boil the water. And for that, I always have this in my pack. This is, I actually don't know who makes this. I got this for Christmas like 2 or 3 years ago from my brother-in-law, but it's just this teeny tiny little stove. And it's super lightweight, weighs like 3.5 ounces. You know, it folds out to where I can fit any sort of, like, one of my little cooking pans on it. And it's an awesome thing to have. It boils water in like 3 minutes. It weighs nothing. Obviously there's a bunch of different kind of fuel canisters out there. I like to carry one larger fuel canister rather than like 2 or 3 smaller ones, just because it takes up less space for the same amount of gas. But that's something that if I think I'm going to be out for the night, I always carry this and a fuel canister. So those are, you know, kind of the essentials, at least for me, to be comfortable during the night. As far as clothing goes, you know, I don't pack like 5 or 6 shirts. I generally have one extra of everything. So, and I rotate pants, shirts. You know, obviously, like I said, I take a lot of socks because I love having fresh socks. But you know, I can wear a shirt for 2 days. I can wear a pair of pants for 2 or 3 days. And then when I get back to camp, you know, I can wash them. And obviously it's nice to have like matching camo and whatnot, but I've actually gone the opposite direction, and I buy, these pants are made by prAna, P-R-A-N-A, and you get them at like REI, really any like outdoor outlet kind of thing. But they're all the same material that you'd find in like a First Lite pant or a Kuiu pant. They just don't have the camo on them. And because of that, instead of being like 140 or 150 bucks for a pair of pants, they're like 75. And they make them in, you know, brown, tan, dark green, light green, all just kind of like earthy tones. And I don't think I've ever had an animal spot me because of my legs. You know, usually your legs are covered up by a brush, or, you know, you're standing by a tree or something like that, and they're going to spot movement more than they're going to spot color. So I just buy pants that are super comfortable, they're cheaper, and I get along really well with them. So, you know, that kind of covers most of like the comfort items that I like to bring. What I don't have here is my little pillow. I love bringing my little like air pillow. It's made by SITKA Summit, and that thing's great. And then the last piece of gear that I have is earplugs. So if you're hunting by yourself, no big deal. If you're hunting with somebody, it never fails that they snore louder than you. So I bring these because I can't fall asleep with somebody snoring. I don't know why. It doesn't matter how tired I am. If they're sitting there just sawing logs, I cannot fall asleep. So if I bring these, it drowns out most of the noise, and I can get a good night's sleep. And again, in the morning, I'm recovered, I'm refreshed, I'm comfortable, and makes for a better day of hunting the next day. So I always bring earplugs. Like I said, these are kind of just smaller things that I bring. I'm not doing like my full pack review here. It would just take too long. But if you have any questions, obviously, as always, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Hit us up on Instagram at inside_out_precision. We generally see those faster than we do YouTube comments, so that's always a good way to get a hold of us. But yeah, we, you know, gearing up for a hunt like this, it it takes some time, and I've forgotten a lot of things over the years, and I wish I've had a lot of things when I'm out there over the years. And so I've kind of made this compilation of stuff that I just always have in my hunting box, and when it's time to go, you know, I know that if I just put everything from that box into my pack, I'll be comfortable out there. So I hope this video just gives you an insight into kind of what I'm doing. I hope to kill an elk this Saturday. Keep your fingers crossed for me. And until next time, just keep them in the middle, and remember, precision is a decision.